Yesterday we discussed about some basic terms of web terminology. We learned about some important terms. Yeah, we discussed about a few important terms in the last session about what is network and types of networks, and so what is internet and what is web. These are the basic things we discussed about web development. These are the basic terminology we learned about web development, right? Yeah. So in order to learn AngularJS, you should have basic knowledge of first HTML. Without HTML, JavaScript, you cannot learn any higher technologies. Minimum, you should have this, right? So yesterday we discussed about these four things: network, different types of networks, internet, and web. What is technically, as I explained about web? So what I told you about web, you remember that pointer? If I ask what is web, what you will say? Technically, web is, how do you define web? I told you yesterday definition for that. So what is web? An overview I given to you. Technically, web is a portion of internet with restricted access. Am I right? Web is a portion of internet with restricted access. Right. Now we need to understand another important term. So that is, we need to know about web server. What is web server and how the web server works technically? You need to know about another important web server. Actually, what is the point about web server? Generally, technically, web server resembles web server resembles it resembles both hardware and software. It resembles both hardware and software. Actually, it satisfies the client request by sending and receiving the data. By sending and receiving the data. You can simply say by sending and receiving the resources. Sending and receiving the resources. So web server resembles both hardware and software. It satisfies the client request by sending and receiving the resources. Actually, if anyone asks what is web server, generally, see, we have the concept of web. So this is the client. Client is the user. This is the client. Client is the user. Now, technically, this is the rest of the web. Roughly, this is the rest of the web. The communication between client and the web is managed by a computer. It is managed by a computer. This computer is known as, we call this as web server. Web server. So it is, computer is a hardware. It is known as web server. Now the client request comes to the web server. Web server usually a computer, and you know that a computer cannot do any task by itself. It needs a software. This web server uses a software to manage the request made by the client. This software that is used in this computer, that software is also called web server. So the computer is called web server, and the software inside it is also known as web server software. So web server resembles both hardware as well as software. This web server manages the request from the client. It communicates with the web, gets the data from the web, and sends it as a response to the client. So the communication between the client and the web is all managed by this web server. So web server is responsible for handling interaction with the client. Clients makes a request, web server will process the request. Actually, it is responsible for performing the actions like get, like post, like put, like delete. Get is fetching the information from web. Post is submitting the information to web. Put is modifying the information on web. Delete is deleting, removing from the web. Such activities are actually managed by web server. The popular web server softwares that are used in web development, and you know that, I think you many of you people heard about them. The popular web server softwares, we have Apache Tomcat, am I right? Apache Tomcat, IIS, Internet Information Services. We have JBoss. All this comes under the category of web server. Tomcat, IIS, all these are web servers. Web server softwares. If you are a Java developer, PHP developer, Python developer, so many times you may be working with Tomcat. If you are a .NET General Microsoft developer, then you may be working with IS, Internet Information Services. Yes, so many are there. So many web servers are there. You can use those web servers. So technically web server resembles both hardware and software. And web server manages the request from the client and sends a proper response. Technically, servers will have different types of operating systems, right? It's not like it will have the same operating system as client, right? So servers can be designed by using any type of operating system, right? I showed you data servers in the first session video, right? servers are built with different types of operating system or platforms or anything. It's not mandatory that client should use the same, because here the client means he can be a mobile client also. Understood? Client can be a mobile client. He can use Android, iOS, he can use Windows, Linux, anything, right? So technically, we are not trying to explore what is inside server. We are just understanding what is web server. Understood? What is the role of web server? So technically, servers will have different types of abilities. Web server don't compare with OS, operating systems. So technically, web server here we are managing it as here web server is software. So we are not physically handling them, right? For us, currently we are using web server software. What are the web server softwares? So many. How to use these web server softwares? We will see that. We will see how to work with them. How do we use them? Right? Let's see. Technically, how you manage a web server? How do you deal with a web server? So, first point is you are very big, you are at the very beginning level. So, we are just understanding the terms. So, don't worry about all the functionalities of them. You need to just understand basically what they are. Then you will later learn so many things about them. In the infrastructure, I told you middlewares, web server, application server, database server, and how the responsibilities will be. So, today we are going to see how to use this web server. Practically, how do we use this web server? Technically, how do we use this web server? Let's see that. So, first point, web server, the computer that contains the software for managing the client request. That computer is called web server, and the software in it is also web server. Currently, you have web server in your PC also. That means web server softwares. We have Tomcat. So we have IIS. Currently in your computers, if you are using Windows, by default Windows comes with a web server. That means your laptops, your desktop, your PC is a web server now. Is having a web server now. It can behave as a web server now. So now you may be using different operating system services. If you are using different operating system services, then different types of servers are required. Different types of servers are required. So if you are using Windows, so Windows by default, Windows operating system by default comes with a web server called IIS. We will directly use it. If you belong to Java, PHP, or Python like technologies, obviously you can have servers like XAMPP, XAMPP server. You can download XAMPP server. That's it. You can download this XAMPP server. This XAMPP server will give you so many. It will give you an FileZilla FTP server. It will give you an Tomcat servers. It gives you Strawberry parallel like servers. So many types of servers are provided by this XAMPP. So if you belong to various other technologies, various other operating systems, so what you can do is you can download this XAMPP. Download XAMPP. You can download this XAMPP. So this is XAMPP server. You can download this. You can download. For various operating system services, you have this server. You can download this. For Windows, for Linux, for OS, any another operating system services, you can add this. Right? You can add this. You can download it, and you can use these servers. Right? So this is the server that you can download and use if you belong to different operating system. If you belong to Windows, no need of XAMPP. Windows by default have a web server. You can use that web server. I will show you how we can use a web server. By default, Windows is having a web server. You can use that web server. How we can use that web server? So that means we are going to look for web server on your PC. On your PC. So here IIS for Windows. IIS for Windows. So if you have Windows operating system, I will show you several examples on this IIS only. So in the beginning days, we will do everything through this IIS. That's the reason you make sure that you are having this. Or if you belong to other operating systems, you download that XAMPP, right? Usage of server, any location same, only the approach will change here a little bit. Technically, first point, you have to look for web server on your PC. If you are Windows PC, let's see where the web server is present. You open your Windows control panel. In that, switch to icon view, some large icon, and go to administrative tools. Administrative tools. In administrative tools, you have to look for internet information services manager. Internet information services manager. This is the web server you need to look at. Means this is the location where you will find the web server. So open Windows control panel. This is the Windows control panel. In the Windows control panel, right side, you can see we have large icons. Sometimes control panel will be category wise arranged like this. So I am switching here large icons. In this, you go to administrative tools. In administrative tools, you will find here IIS, Internet Information Services. So we have a web server. So web server is ready, and we can start using the web server. Right. So if this is not available in your PCs, if it is not available in your machines, right? Have you everyone checked once? Have you gone through that? Have you seen this? So open the control panel and administrative tools. Have you found that IIS people who are using Windows operating system. Have you found that? So you have that available. Okay. In some computers, you may not find it. In some computers, you may not find it. In some Windows computers, you may not find it. If you are not finding it, then only the point is it may be turned off. You have to turn it on. It may be turned off. You need to turn it on. Turn it on. How to turn on? That means if it is not available, how to turn on? I will show you. That means add web server to your Windows PC if not available. This is not required for everyone. This is for the people who don't have IS. They are unable to find it. What you have to do is, so go to control panel. Control panel. You will find programs and features. Open programs and features. Features. In programs and features, you will find click on turn Windows features on or off. There is an option Windows features on or off. There you have to select Internet Information Services. So you have to select Internet Information Services and then OK. This will add IS to your computer. Sometimes IS may be turned off. IS may be turned off. So you have to turn it on. It may be turned off. You have to turn it on. Right. So how to turn it on? Let's see. So what you have to do is open the control panel. In the control panel, you will find programs and features. You can go to this programs and features. When you select programs and features, in the programs and features, left side, you will find option turn Windows features on off. You click the option turn Windows features on off. Then it will ask you to select the features that you want to turn on or off. So here we have to make sure that this IS is selected. In your machines, it may be not selected. If it is not selected, you have to select. You have to select it. Once you select it, now click OK. It will be added into your computer. If it is added into the computer, now it is available in your control panel, where you will find in the control panel administrative tools, you will find that IS. It will ask for a restart. You have to restart it. Right. So this is the basic approach how we can create, how you can create and how you can locate the web server, locating the web server. So generally, this is the process of defining the web server. And if you have Windows, by default, you have a web server and you can use it. You can use it. So this is ready. Now we have a web server. Now once we have a web server, how to test the web server, whether it is working or not. So actually, we have to test web server. We have to test the web server whether it is working or not. So generally, physically, to test web server working or not, in control panel, when you open that, so IS, administrative tools, IS, you can see this is web server. In this web server, you can observe left side. This is the server physical name. It is having some physical name. You move the mouse pointer onto it. It will show a virtual name. This is the virtual name of web server. HTTP :/ localhost. That is the virtual name. That means we need to access the web server by using this virtual name. Localhost, or we can use IP address also. I will show you. That means how to access this web server, how to test. Simple. What you have to do is open any browser. In the browser, you need to just make a request here like this. HTTP : and the local host. That's it. You have to just make a request for this and hit enter and hit enter. And you can see the response will come from the server. This is IS, Internet Information Services. That means it is working fine. This doesn't require any internet connection or anything. It is a local server. Why the word local host? Because if you are accessing within the same machine where it is available, where it is installed, then we use the word local host. Because currently it is installed in our PC, we are accessing from the same PC. Generally, if you are accessing from another PC, which is connected to this network, means all PCs must be connected to a single network, then you can use the IP address for accessing this server. Usually, so to test, you have to do this. Open web server, open any browser, then type the following in URL. So you have to type HTTP : localhost, or you can use the default IP address. Default IP address for every computer, whatever the computer you are using, server will be 127.0.0.1. That is the default IP address. This is the default IP address. Default IP address. So you need to access the default IP address. So you can access the web server by using this address. So you can open the browser, and here you can type HTTP : 127.0.0.1 and hit enter. It can get you that details and show. And this is that. So you can use the IP address, or you can use technically, you can use the IP address, or technically you can use the localhost keyword. So now your web server is responding. That means it is ready. You can start using this web server. So first we need to verify whether there is a web server or not. Then we have to add web server if not available. Then you need to test the web server whether it is working fine or not. So here web server is working fine. That means everything is good. It is working fine. Now once the web server is working fine, it is technically working fine. Now we need to understand the other concepts here related to web. I hope up to this point everyone understood the concept. Everyone understood? Three, three things we have learned: how to create, how to locate the web server, how to add the web server, and how to test the web server. These are the three important things. I think many of you, if you are watching this on your PC or laptop, simultaneously have you tried this? Right? So is it working fine? Is it working fine? If not, you try that. If you have any doubts, I will let you know about them. I will resolve them in tomorrow's session, right? Yes. Sign. Right, good. So if it is working fine, that means your web server is ready. Now, if web server is ready, now the next thing you need to know technically about another point is you need to know about website. Once you know what is web server, now we need to know several other things, right? No, today itself we started the practice, right? What you are learning today is the starting of our practical. So nothing major thing to worry about that. You start from today, that is enough, right? You will understand. Practically, the first step towards practice is today only. Okay. So we discussed about this. How to locate the web server. Fine. Now, technically, what is a website? How we can configure the website? Let's see how we can the website. Right. If you have any issues, what you do is you download and install TeamViewer or any desk-like softwares so that tomorrow I can access your machines and I can see what problems you are facing. Okay. Right. One more point will be there. Sometimes what happens, IP address will not work. You test this local host. Sometimes one more point is there. Sometimes so web server IS may be stopped on your PC, on your PC. So you have to start it. You have to start it. Sometimes IS may be stopped in your PC. You have to start it because because your computer may be having some other servers, right? If you're already having Java, Oracle like softwares, you will have a Tomcat running inside it. Am I right? Huh? So, so you have to, you have to. Oracle obviously uses Apache now, right? You have to make sure that you have to stop the other server and start your server. So then what you have to do is you open your services.msc, services.msc. You know Windows services. Open services.msc. In the Windows services, in the Windows services, here, if you have Oracle or anything other server installed, you will find Apache Tomcat. So Tomcat server, you right click on that server and stop the server. and make sure that your IIS server is started. That means what you have to do, open services. That means in run, you have to type services.msc. Next, after opening services, in the services, observe here. First, you have to stop other servers running, right? And next step, you have to scroll down. You will find World Wide Web Publishing Services. So World Wide Web Publishing Service. This is our World Wide Publishing Service. This is our IAS. This should be running. That means make sure that you right click and start this server. That is World Wide Web Publishing Service. So you have to make sure that start World Wide Web Publishing Service. You have to start this service. Once you stop the other server and start this service, then your IIS will be working fine. Understood? So this is the approach you need to follow. All right. So if IIS is not working, then make sure that the other server which is running, you stopped it and you started this server. So then it is ready. You can start working with it. So this is all about technically web server, technically about the web server, right? Next important, we need to know about website. What is a website? How to configure and define a website? Technically, website is a virtual directory. Website is a virtual directory on web server. So you should not say website as a collection of web pages. Technically, website is a virtual directory on web server. It is a virtual directory on web server. Actually, so it provides access to resources on server. It provides access to the resources on server. It gives access to the resources on server. It is a virtual directory. That is the reason. So actually web is our network, and site means location. Technically, website is a location in your network, and it is a virtual directory. It is a directory. How it works, I will show you. We will see that. So why we are learning on local servers? This is local server because once you develop any application on local server, you test and run on local server. If everything is working fine, then we can directly publish onto the real-time web. That means it provides you the same type of environment that you usually see in the production. So later we will detailedly understand about the role of different types of servers also. As of now, server is ready. We need to create a website. Now remember, you are creating a website on local server. So this website is not live so that you can access on internet. This is a local site. Once you build it here, you can later make it live so that it can be accessed and used everywhere. So that is what actually the concept of website. So technically website is a virtual directory. Let's see how to create a website. How do we create a website? Let's see that. Now here I will open IS. So that means we are going to learn how to creating a new website on local web server. How to create a new website on local web server. Let's see. For that, first open your IIS. You open your IIS. So open IIS. In shortcut, run inet mgr. This is the shortcut for opening IIS. So open, run, and type inet mgr. Then it will open IIS. This is IIS. In the IIS, now go to the location here. So open here. That means this is the server. Expand the server. This is local host. Expand the server. You will find there is a sites folder. You will find there is a sites folder. Expand that sites folder. Then you will find default website. Default website. This is the location where we create our websites. Not directly in the sites folder. Our websites are maintained in this default website. Right click on default website. Default website. You right click on default website. There is an option, add virtual directory. So technically, website is an virtual directory. You are creating a website. That means you are adding a virtual directory. Add virtual directory. Technically, how you define website? Website is a virtual directory. So we are adding the virtual directory. Now select add virtual directory. Then it will prompt you to mention some details about this virtual directory. That means what should be your website name? You can give any name for your website. Any name for your website. Alias name. It is asking the name for website. Suppose I am giving any website name. Suppose let's give some name as a shopping like this. So a simple site name, and make sure that that name is not already taken, because in my machine I'm having so many websites. I'm having so many websites, and I have to make sure that I am not picking up anything similar to that, right? So I will right click and add virtual directory, and here website name I give as shopping. Okay, that means actually now your website, how do we define that? Open IS, expand local computer, that is http://localhost. Then expand sites folder. Then right click on default website, and you have to select the option add virtual directory. Now we have to define alias. Alias is website name. What should be the name for your website? I given as shopping. Capitalization doesn't matter. You can give anything. You can access in any way, right? Now, our website physical name is website name is this. Actually, it is a virtual name. Virtual name means in physical reality, it doesn't exist in your machine. This is just virtual name. Now, from where this website should access the resources, you have to define the physical path. Physical path. Every website will have virtual path and physical path. That means from where this website have to pick the resources, where you will maintain the resources for this website. That is physical path. So I will give some resource, some C colon, some shopping, C drive, D drive somewhere. That means what we have to do now, it is asking, observe, it is asking physical path. The virtual path, physical path. Physical path, you have to create a location for it. Click on this location. In C drive, I will create a separate folder and give the folder name as shopping. Shopping, that is the folder name. And click OK. That is the folder I have created. That means the resources for this website, don't try to type. Why? Because the resource location should be an existing location. So if you already created a folder, select that folder. Otherwise, create a new folder now. But don't type anything new folder name directly. It will say there is no folder found. So shopping and this. That means every website will have a physical path and virtual path. Virtual path will be like this: http://localhost/shopping. Physical path will be like this: C:/shopping, C colon or D colon or anything. Now, as a developer, you are given access to physical path. That means all the resources for website are kept in physical path. And can I give this physical path to my clients and ask them to access resources? Can you give physical path to client? You cannot give the physical path to client. You cannot ask them to access the resources from physical path. Then how client will access our resources? How client will access our resources? Tell me. How client will access our resources? By using the virtual path. Am I right? Through the virtual path. Am I right? So that means website comprises of physical path and virtual path. Physical path is for developers to keep all the resources. Virtual path is to access the resources. Developers can access the resources and see them from the virtual path. It is given to the client, right? Now observe carefully. Our website is ready. I click OK. That means website finished, created. Is our website having any resources? Is our website having any resources? Website is not having any resources. It is empty now. There are no contents in that website. It is empty. So let's try this now. Let's try this now. I will open browser and IP address or localhost, http://localhost slash, what is our site name? Shopping, and hit enter. Then it shows an error. Error is quite reasonable. it shows an error saying that there are no contents in this directory. Of course, there are no contents now. Am I right? There are no contents. It is empty. Now tell me where to keep the contents for this website. Where to keep the contents for this website? Where to keep the contents for this website? Tell me. Where to keep the contents for this website? Where do we keep the contents for this website? Can you tell me that? We have to keep the contents for this website in the physical path. Am I right? Am I right? In the physical path. Am I right? We have to keep in the physical path. Yes, yes. It is in the physical path. So let's go to the physical path. E drive, C drive. In this shopping. Okay. I'm going to the physical path, shopping. It is empty. In this, I will create a folder called images. Okay, I will create another folder called docs. Docs. Anything you can create. Now in images folder, I will put a photo. Suppose in my computer, I have some pictures. In my computer, I have some pictures. So I will copy any picture. So some pictures are present. I will copy any picture here. So we have some pictures. Suppose I will select a picture. So some speaker. So I will copy this, and I will paste this into this images, and I will name it as a speaker. It is a JPG file. I have speaker JPG file in images. Now I will go to docs. I will keep some document. Suppose a PDF document like. Suppose in my computer I have some PDF documents. So some PDF documents. Suppose I will copy a PDF document and paste that PDF document in this CSS demo PDF. Okay. Now we have some resources in that project. That means in the website. Now user can access the resources directly from the physical path. You see now, localhost, in that shopping, we have a folder called images. In images, we have a speaker.jpg, and hit enter. And I can access that resource directly here. Am I right? That means we can access the resources directly. Right? Now tell me, is my website having a web page? Website is not having any web page. Directly we have resources. We can access those resources. Am I right? So technically, website is not a collection of web pages. Am I right? Is not a collection of web pages. It is a collection of resources. Right? It is a virtual directory with collection of resources. So in the URL, I am typing like this. Docs. In docs, I have CSS demo.pdf and hit enter. The document will open here. The document will open here. Am I right? We can access the resources. We can access the resources. But important is how a client knows that what resources at which location we are having. Am I right? How client knows that in which path, which resource is present, what is its name? Client cannot know about that. Am I right? Right? Client doesn't know that. Then what we have to do? then what we have to do, we have to create a proper UI from where client can interact with our resources. Understood? Right? That means now as a UI developer, our role is to provide a proper user interface from where client can interact with the resources. Am I right? Right? I hope everyone understood that. And the UI that we design for interacting with the resources inside the website is done by using a web page. Understood? Technically, if anyone asks what is web page, in simple, web page provides an user interface from where user can interact with the resources in the website. Understood? Web page provides a user interface from where user can interact with the resources. Currently, we have just website and resources. We don't have web pages. If we can design web page, then there is a proper UI so that user can interact with it. To create this UI web page, we are going to learn the language HTML. Understood? HTML is the language which is used to design the UI for the web page. Am I right? As of now, we will not go into web page. Later, we will discuss the web page. I will just give you an overview. Currently, we don't have any web page. Now, what I am doing is open Notepad. In Notepad, I am creating a simple page. Don't worry about what I am doing. Just observe the concept. So don't worry about what I am doing, shopping. So just I am creating a web page. And in the body section, so I defined a heading. So welcome to online shopping. Okay. And here I'm defining, so an order list. Yeah. And here I'm defining, so a simple anchor href is equal to images slash speaker dot jpg and speaker. Okay. And here I'm designing a simple another href docs, that is css demo.pdf, and here we say tutorial. So then here we close this one. Now the body close and the HTML close. I created a UI and I am saving this in our website physical path. Don't worry about this. This you are going to learn detailedly later. Our website is shopping. In that we are creating a page called index.html. Now our website is having a proper UI. Then whenever anybody opens our website, it will get that screen. Am I right? Am I right? They will get that screen. And from that screen, user will select what he wants. I want speaker. It will open the speaker. And user will select tutorial. It will open the tutorial. Right? That means we are designing a UI. So how to create this UI? That means you have to learn how to create the web pages. Once you know how to design the web page, that means you are good in designing the UI so that client can interact. And to design this, we are learning the language HTML, right? So by using HTML, we design these web pages. Technically, first you need to understand what is web page. What are the types of web pages? What is difference between them? And how to design them? That part we will discuss in tomorrow's session. So no need to worry about web page concept today. Up to website, storing some folders, files and accessing them, you practice them. Am I right? How to create a web page? What is a web page? We will discuss in tomorrow's session. Then in tomorrow's session, we are going to understand web pages and other options. Okay. I hope everyone is clear with today's concept. So you just practice up to creating a website, keeping some resources and accessing them directly. How to create web pages. That's what we are going to learn in the next level, creating a UI. That we will see in tomorrow's session. Okay, right. This all notes I will upload into the GitHub location. Yesterday I given a GitHub location. I will upload into the GitHub location. So you can get it from there. Right. So UI demos. In this location, I will upload that. The notes is this. So today 25/6/2020 notes. Right. So you can get it from there. So no need to worry about the web pages related concept that I will show you tomorrow. This is locating the options. Right. Right. So the GitHub link is this. This is the GitHub link. If you missed yesterday's, this is the GitHub link. Only up to demos only, you will have this link. After our registered session start, we will go to a private repository where I will share you the notes, PDF and everything. So tomorrow, so we will discuss about how to create web pages and work with web pages. By tomorrow, you try this. By tomorrow, you try this. If you have any problems, let me know so that I can access your machine and see what is the problem in yours. Okay, right. Then let's meet tomorrow then. Thank you. Have any doubts? So once you practice today, if you have any doubts, let me know about that tomorrow. Fine. Right.